Right now we are going to proceed on page 146 for commercial law and continue in our lecture. We are going to talk about unconditional promise for order to pay. Unconditional promise or order to pay. There is no condition for payment. An instrument is not negotiable if it states 1. An express condition to payment. Number 2, that the promise or order is subject to or governed by another writing. 3. That rights or obligations with respect to the promise or order are stated in another writing. A reference to another writing does not of itself make the promise or order conditional. A promise is not made conditional by number 1, reference to another writing for a statement of rights with respect to collateral, prepayment, or acceleration, or number 2, because payment is limited to resort to a particular fund or source, as to reference to another writing. The only permissible promise is order in a negotiable instrument is to pay a sum certain in money. Any other promise or order negates negotiability. The reason for this rule is to prevent an instrument from having an indeterminate value. The usefulness of a negotiable instrument as a substitute for money would be seriously eroded if the instrument's holder had to investigate whether a stipulation or condition had been met before the thing and any value, for example, before the obligator's obligation to pay ripened. Fixed amount in money. It has to be fixed, not open. The value of the paper must be fixed, specified, so it can be ascertained, and it must be payable in money. Fixed amount. The instrument must recite an exact amount of money that is to be paid, although the exact amount need not be expressed in a single figure. For example, the note can state that the principal is $1,000 and the interest is 11.5% without specifying the total amount. Or the note could state the amount in installments, 12 equal installments of $88.25, or it could state different interest rate before and after a certain date, or depending on whether or not the maker has defaulted. It could be determinable by a formula or by reference to a source described in the instrument. It could permit the maker to make a discount if he pays before a certain date, or could assess a penalty if he pays after the date. It could also provide for any attorney's fees and the cost of collection on default. If it is clear that interest is to be included but not interest amount is set, provides that it is payable at the judgment rate, in effect at the place of payment of the instrument and at the time interest first occurs. The fundamental rule is that for any time of payment, the holder must be able to determine after the appropriate uh, calculations the amount then payable. In money, definition of money as a medium of exchange authorized or adopted by a domestic or foreign government as a part of its currency, as long as the medium of exchange was such at the time the instrument was made, it is payable in money, even if the medium of exchange has been abolished at the time the instrument is due. For payment in foreign currency, an instrument that states the amount payable in foreign money may be paid in the foreign money or in an equivalent amount in dollars, calculated by using the current bank offered spot rate at the place of payment for the purchase of dollars on the day on which the instrument is paid. Payable on demand or at a definite time. Payable on demand in view or a definite time, of course, in the future. An instrument that says it is payable on site is payable on demand, as is one that states no time for payment. Definite time. Definite time may be stated in several ways. Of course, in the future, it is not necessary to set out a specific date. For example, a note might say that it is payable on or before a stated date, at a fixed period after the date, at a fixed period after sight, at a definite time subject to acceleration, or at a definite time subject to extension at the option of the holder, or automatically on or after the occurrence of a particular event. However, if the only time fixed is on the occurrence of a contingent event, the time is not definite, even though the event in fact has already occurred. An example of a valid acceleration clause is the following. At the option of the holder, this note shall become immediately due and payable in the event that the maker fails to comply with any of the promises contained in this note, or to excuse me, or to perform any other obligation of the maker to the holder. Is the note payable 10 days after my wife gave birth? Negotiable? No, because the date the baby is due is uncertain. Payable to order or bearer. Payable to order or bearer. An instrument payable to order is on that will be paid in a particular to a particular person or organization identifiable in advance. To be payable to order, the instrument must state as most ordinarily do, by placing the words payable to order of before the name of the payee. An instrument may be payable to the order of the maker, drawer, drawee, or someone else. It also may be payable to the order of two or more payees together in the alternative, to an estate, a trust, or a fund, in which case it is payable to the representative, to an office or officer, or to a partnership or an incorporated association. Suppose a printed form says that the instrument is payable both in order and to bearer. In this event, the instrument is payable only to order. However, if the words "the bearer" are handwritten or typewritten, then the instrument can be payable either to order or to bearer. A negotiable instrument not payable to a particular person must be payable to bearer, meaning to any person who presents it. To be payable to bearer, the instrument may say payable to bearer or to the order of bearer. It may also say payable to John Doe or bearer, or it may be made payable to cash or the order of cash.